Good evening all, this is AJ and welcome back to another episode of my weekly watch roundup. So what stuff have I been watching this week? So let's get into this. Okay, so obviously last week Dexter ended. We had the series finale, what seems like the series finale. Dexter was killed. Yeah, upset a lot of people. A lot of people not happy with how it went. I'm not being one of them. Inevitably, when you have a series finale that sort of ends things for a character, it's very divisive because it's never an end that people want. It's a bit like grief, I suppose, in that, you know, you're looking for someone to blame and someone to be angry about. So when you're so invested in the series, in a character, people take it to heart that it doesn't end the way they want it to end. And people had issues with the story and the writing and all this sort of thing. But each to their own. The series worked for me. But anyway, so that got me started on revisiting Dexter from the first series. So I went in, I started watching the first season. I think I got 3 or 4 episodes in, but then other stuff has come up for me to watch, so that's as far as I got with it. It's nice to revisit it. There are some questions I have that I'm hoping will be answered further along in the series. I haven't seen these since they first aired, so it's nice to go back and watch. So that was the first thing. Then obviously Disney dropped The Eternals. Yeah, now I haven't seen The Eternals out. You know, I didn't go cinema to see it or anything like that. It's not a comic property that I'm overly aware of, even though I'm a comic collector. When you delve into that sort of realm of comic, of that story where it's more space and I can't get into it. I'm more sort of a street level kind of a person who likes those heroes on the ground, the grounded heroes. So I find sci-fi in comics a difficult read. That being said, so I started watching The Eternals and I switched it off halfway through. I just couldn't get into it. It's not been a fantastic year for Marvel from my perspective in film. Black Widow I quite enjoyed, but harder to rewatch. Shang-Chi just didn't really work for me that well. I know a lot of people liked it, but for me again, okay, Spider-Man was good, obviously, but then Eternals just wasn't good. So it's not been a fantastic year. And if you go back and watch the 4 last sort of newer Marvel films outside of the Avengers, Captain Marvel, I know that made a load of money, but it was lacking something. Black Widow lacked something, Shang-Chi lacked something, and now the Eternals. So it's unfortunate that Marvel films seem to be going down this route and I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. I don't know whether it's because they're stepping outside of the source material. Certainly with Eternals, this is Marvel's first foray into a group, a team, shall we say. I know we've done the Avengers before, but with the Avenger films, all the characters have been set up previously in other films. They've had their stories. So when you come together in an Avengers film, you haven't got to give backstories to these characters because you know them already. Eternals suffered with the fact that you don't know anyone, so they've all got to be introduced, and it makes it quite thingy. So anyway, like I said, I switched it off halfway through. I will go back and rewatch the end, but there was other stuff more interesting to watch. Next up, Boba Fett, the latest episode of Boba Fett. This is episode 3, which was okay. I didn't like the scooter gang, like mods on scooters, on their pimped up little Vespers, that stuff. Yeah. The vehicles that they've started designing for this, and the film Solo suffered with this. The vehicle at the start that he's driving, the speeder, looks very much like a car without wheels, and in this you've got the same sort of vehicle, but then you've got these little scooters which have got the wing mirrors on them and everything. They just look completely stupid and take me out of the story. And like I've said, Boba Fett's good, but it's not great, and that's because we've not stepped away from Tatooine. We've not stepped away from the aesthetic of The Mandalorian. It's doing nothing fresh. It's stuff that you've seen before. Not only that, but you've taken a character that was shrouded in mystery, and that's what makes these characters so interesting. That's why Boba Fett, even after about 6 minutes of screen time through the Star Wars films, you know, that's what made him so enigmatic, is that he had an air of mystery about him, and now that mystery's been taken away, and you know, so yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that. Family Guy. Now, Family Guy's been on for a long time, but latest episode that came out last, I'd watched it Monday actually. Can't remember the title, but all I can tell you is that Peter got walloped in the testicles, and his voice went up a pitch, and he joined a choir in the church where the other kids were bullies, and then you had Lois working out intensively on a sort of exercise bike that Peter had bought for her as a present, which she weren't happy with. But then she got really sort of toned and looked rather manly, and Stewie, the baby, had a crush on her. And yeah, I've got to say, it's the funniest episode I've seen in a long time. I was laughing from beginning to end. I thought it was very good. Yeah, and the end rung true. They've done this sort of like, you know, like when you have videos of abandoned animals that you've bought for Christmas, people bought for Christmas and then abandoned. They do this at the end with exercise machines, that people have bought exercise machines and now they're just sitting around the house, not used as clothes hangers and all this sort of a thing, and door stops for weights, and it's so true. It's just, there's something that rings so true to it that it was just very funny. Great episode. Obviously HBO Max, they dropped Peacemaker, the first 3 episodes. This is a continuation of the character from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad movie that came out last year, one of the better films of the year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched all 3 episodes back to back. I have reviewed them. All I could say is, you know, I went into it a bit sort of reluctant. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'll be honest, I haven't read nothing about it. I don't often read too much about film and TV. I just go with it when it comes out. I don't watch too much of trailers and stuff to spoil things for me. I just sit there at the time, watch it. I try and get no bias by anything. I didn't even realise it was actually written and directed by James Gunn. Well, I did when I saw it on the screen, but I didn't when I went into it. So it was nice to see that it was directed by James Gunn. It had that aesthetic. It had that same, you know, the DNA crosses over from Suicide Squad into this, and it was just fantastic set of characters, very funny. The character of Suicide Squad of Peacemaker himself is very much like Johnny Lawrence in Cobra Kai, in that he's he lives outside of the PC world. He's not politically correct. He has no idea about political correctness, and it works. This character, I think they've realised. You're going to see a lot more of this, I think, in things, because what you know, people, I think they're realising that people don't like the politically correct sort of world that we're living in, and obviously TV has to adhere to this a lot, and shows do. This show does, Cobra Kai does to a degree, with a multicultural cast and all this sort of a thing. But then what you do is if you create a character who lives outside of this PC correctness, and it's written as his character, you can get away with introducing elements in the series or film that makes you go ooh, you know. So it gives you this air of, you know, they're trying to not be politically correct when they are. So anyway, so that was a fantastic series, you know, can't knock it, love it. Then I finished up with Afterlife. Yes, Netflix, season 3 of Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. Now I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais. I think he's very funny. I've watched his stuff from The Office to Extras to Derek to Life's Too Short. He's a very clever guy in his writing, and this program's no exception. It touches your heart, it pulls on the heartstrings. It's very funny in the characters and how the characters act and what the characters say, this sort of a thing. This is the last season of it, and you know, very sad. you know, if you've ever dealt with grief, there's a lot, and I have, there's a lot of truth in what goes on in this show. And same with mental health and depression and this sort of a thing that he's dealing with after the loss of his wife. And a lot of it touches home. But yeah, so fantastic, fantastic stuff. What does the future hold for me? As in this week coming now. Oh wait, what else did I watch? Oh no, Blade Runner. Yeah, Blade Runner, the animated, Japanese animated series, Black Lotus. I did watch that as well. Yeah, you know, it's fine. It's a fine series. Oh, and Star Trek Lower Decks. Not Lower Decks, Prodigy. Star Trek Prodigy, the animated one for children, which I'm watching and reviewing. Again, that's a fine series. It looks nice. Very, very nicely animated. Kate Mulgrew is in it as Captain Catherine Janeway, so the latest episode of that. So that's about it. So again, what does this week hold for me? Obviously Boba Fett, Peacemaker, that sort of thing. Hopefully there's a new Family Guy tonight to watch. I'm going to see the film Serrano. What else? Well, I don't know. We'll have to see what comes, won't we? But we'll find out next week. Anyway, this is AJ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.